Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Shanti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Devasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatade Shataline Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gauravata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, I've got a new practice that when I'm saying the prayers, I don't look at the screen to see who's trying to come in. Otherwise, I'm supposed to be praying to the Lord and I'm looking at what's going on. So, Hare Krishna. Anyway, welcome. Over Chandravali, welcome. Hare Krishna. Hare Bolo. Okay, let me bring up. I'm trying not to say the word share my screen. I'm trying to change that as well. I've said it too many times. Let me bring up so everyone can see the Bhagavatamrta. Okay. There it is. We're going to be beginning from 149. And we got up to 148 last week. I keep on saying it. I keep on saying we're coming near to the end. Because relatively speaking, considering how long we've been reading this, there's 154 slokas in this chapter, and this last chapter, so 149. They can probably get some idea. I come into the conclusion. And the conclusion is all about the topmost devotees, and that's the gopis. And so someone like to start, get the ball rolling, as they say.
I can do it, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure. Well, I suppose you can read the next. Go ahead, Mother Michelle.
When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the beautiful gopis of Brhad in the Ras Leela, the gopis were embraced by the arms of the Lord. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or other consorts in the spiritual world. Indeed, never was such a thing even imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the beauty and fragrance of the lotus. And what to speak of worldly women who are very beautiful by mundane estimation. Uddhav is astonished that although Mahalakshmi, the consort of Lord Narayan, is famous as his beloved, she cannot enjoy the Supreme Lord's favor in the same way as the gopis of Braj. The Supreme Goddess of Fortune is less fortunate than these gopis. What can be said of everyone else? This verse has already been explained by Sri Narad Muni in an earlier chapter of Sri Brihad Bhagavatam 25189291.
Yes, thank you. Perhaps you can read the next verse as well. Any immediate comments on this? Because it's only a short verse in purple. You can read the next one as well. Okay.
The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to give up, and have forsaken the pain of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krishna, which one should search for by the Vedic knowledge. By Vedic knowledge. Let me be so fortunate as to be one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample upon them and trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. By observing the glories of the gopis, by describing those glories in his own words, and by meeting the gopis in person, Uddhav is now completely absorbed in the gopis' special mood of loving Krishna. In this exalted state, he has now discovered his true heart's desire, which in this verse he prays to achieve is the final fruit of all the service he has done for Krishna. In his next life, he hopes to become any of the plants in Vrindavan who received the dust from the gopis' feet. The enthusiasm Uddhav gains from expressing this wish inspires him to say more about the greatness of the gopis. For the service of Sri Mukunda's lotus feet, the gopis have abandoned things impossible for young women to give up: husbands, children, and other relatives, and the Vedic standards of behavior. Casting aside everything ordinarily precious, they have chosen to devote themselves utterly to Mukunda Padavin, Padavim, the lotus of Krishna, of, or understanding Padavim in its more literal sense of footpath. Every day the gopis eagerly go out, morning and evening, to watch the path Krishna will use to go to the forest and return. Or else, Mukunda Padavin is the spiritual path of Bhakti Yoga. The gopis have abandoned their families and religious principles just to engage in Krishna's service, even without expecting to obtain him. For such unique surrender, they should be acknowledged as supremely glorious. But why have these gopis, whose feet are worshipped by all respectable persons, set a bad example by abandoning the noble life of dedication to their husbands and families? Why have they defied the authority of the Vedas in that way? Uddhav answers that the Vedas themselves consider devotional service to Krishna the most important goal in life and aspire for the service of Sri Mukund's lotus feet. The word Vimragayam indicates that the Vedas can only strive to achieve the prem of the gopis, not achieve it. Therefore, even though the Vedas are the teachers of all principles of religion and spiritual knowledge, it is perfectly fitting that the gopis take no need of Vedic authority and in fact abandon the Vedic principles for the sake of obtaining the most precious things, something the Vedas themselves can hardly obtain. Indeed, for the gopis to observe the religious principles upon which their families insist would only prevent the gopis from properly worshipping the lotus feet of Mukund. On this matter, Lord Krishna has given his own opinion. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjun, become transcendental to those three modes. Bhagavad Gita 2:45. And here in Brihad Bhagavatam, we have just read in text 147 Uddhav's own words from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-58. For one who has tasted the narrations of the infinite Lord, what is the use of taking birth as a high-class Brahmin or even as Lord Brahma himself? In other words, any real attraction to the topics of Lord Ananta exempts one from having to follow the Vedic injunctions that regulate thought and behavior. The gopis, moreover, have earned this exemption even more certainly than have others, because the only desire the gopis have is to follow the path of their beloved Mukunda. Alternatively, Uddhav's statement may be understood as his answer to another doubt. The Vedas, the Shrutis, are the supreme object of reverence even for Brahma and the other demigods. who received their knowledge from the Vedas. This we hear from the very words of the Shrutis themselves. How then are the gopis justified in disregarding the Vedic instructions? In response to this query, Uddhav says that the scope of Vedic authority is limited to the field of ordinary religious life, whereas the gopis have completely transcended that jurisdiction by taking exclusive shelter of Krishna. The Vedas can merely seek Krishna, but the gopis already possess him. In the opinion of some authorities, the Upanishads earned the right to become gopis out of intense hankering to worship Krishna in the gopis' special mood of prem. But this should be rejected as an untenable theory. Why? Because the Upanishads are inferior in devotion, even to the goddess Lakshmi. Thus, the Upanishads on their own merit do not deserve the good fortune of becoming gopis. Only on the strength of Krishna's special mercy could any of them even attain that perfection.
Hari Om, that's up. Any specific commentary?
I can say when we were reading about Uddhav having association, he even got that special mood of Krishna, the gopis' special mood of Krishna. So even by association, he has got Krishna Prem.
Can you say that again? I was distracted. Someone's trying to phone me and I'm trying to give a little synopsis of what you said. I was distracted.
Okay. It says that even Uddhav, because of association of gopis, Uddhav got Krishna Prem.
Yes, well, we had.
And so association is so important. Even small, a very little association gives you so much.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yes, but
Actually,
your voice is breaking. Your voice is crackling.
Mine.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not much I can do about it. I think it's the internet. The connection is that better?
No. It's if you've got a sore
Not
throat.
much, Prabhu. You're like a bad radio signal. We can't hear you.
It's
like when you're trying to set the channel on radio, it's cracking very much.
What to do? Let me try.
Can
this.
you hear us properly though, Prabhu? Can you hear clearly? Okay.
I can hear you clearly. What about now? Can you hear me better now?
A little bit better.
A little bit better. Okay, what can I do? But can you hear me now? Let me turn my they say sometimes this is supposed to work. If I turn my video off just for the time being, you can just see Radha Londonishwar instead, which is a much better deal.
Yeah.
Is that better? You can hear me a little bit better?
Yes.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yes, a little bit better.
Okay, let me try and see if you can hear me. I'll try and put a sentence together so you can hear. But yeah, it's to get the association of someone who embodies prema. It's very powerful. I mean, if we're qualified just by reading, because it's absolute, we can read the narrations in Bhagavatam, but it does take quite some qualification to be able to have that absolute experience or special blessings from reading. But actually associating with devotees, it can have a powerful effect. So even devotees not on the stage of prema or devotees not on the stage of bhava, perhaps unknown to the devotees, when they associate with non-devotees, it has a very powerful effect. Very powerful effect. And often that's what attracts people to devotees and then to taking up devotional service. So that same principle is the same if we hear from advanced devotees. Now, advanced means that they're relishing the mellows of pure devotion, and they're actually relishing a Shakti, and they're relishing affection for the Lord. Then by hearing from them, especially if we're in the right mood as well, so there's two parts. The speaker should be qualified, and also the hearer has to be qualified as well. Then it can be a wonderful effect. So you can imagine Uddhava, he's definitely very qualified in affection for Krishna, but before this point, he's not actually seen or experienced such love as the residents of Vrindavan. And I think I mentioned before that when he actually does, then this is his ecstasy. This is his ecstasy. I think he did have some level of prema, but he didn't, but not the prema, the same type of prema as the gopis. Did you hear all of that?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Let me try turning my camera again. Yeah, so yeah, good point you're bringing up, Mother Vishali. So just the association of devotees is very powerful. I mean, that's why it's described in Shastra that we should always want the association of devotees. But we want the association of advanced devotees as well. Any other comments on that? Or questions? Let me see if I try again. So can you hear me now?
It's still a bit broken, but
Oh, yeah.
we can make out what you're saying, but it's not crystal clear.
Yeah, no, it's difficult to concentrate. This whole material world is broken. It doesn't work properly. It's broken because it's not the real thing, you know.
No.
It doesn't work. But yeah,
Another one, Prabhu. The gopis actually defied the authority of the Vedas.
Yeah, this is an interesting discussion, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, because they knew who the authority is, the most higher authority.
Then again, the most higher authority is this example of the gopis.
Like they defied the authority of the Vedas, but the gopis, they knew who was the highest authority. Krishna.
Yeah, it said here, what did it say? It said nice in one little sentence. It was, the Vedas can merely see Krishna, but the gopis really possess him. So following Vedic injunctions plays a massive role in Vedic culture. And everyone follows, well, not everyone, of course. You've got Gnostics, those who don't believe in Veda, atheists. But it's a very binding knot in the ordinary life of people in Vedic culture. They're very religious. And to step outside of religion and to step outside of Vedic principles, they're actually fearful of it. That's why the gopis, in one sense, there is such a, I can say, such a wonderful, I can also word, it's kind of, the more we understand about the strictness of the Vedas and people that follow them, then the gopis themselves, in their spontaneous love, they do not follow, but they're glorious because they're following the ultimate spiritual principle of attraction to Krishna. That's why I find it nice that Sanatana Goswami quotes Gunya Vashya Veda Nishchaya Guna Vajuna. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. Arjuna become transcendental to these three modes. Yeah. There's something else I'm going to say, but that's my train of thought. Yeah, it's very strict. Very
So even the Upanishads do not deserve the good fortune of becoming a gopi.
Yeah. So what about us? What
That's-
about us?
Yeah. Down the list, totally.
Like in central London.
No chance.
So that's why it's always
Yeah.
intriguing. It's always
That's-
intriguing that. I mean, that's why Lord Chaitanya was so intoxicated,
Yeah.
because he's giving out this to those who are the least qualified. What's that? Napita chiram chirat kuruna avatena kalo mapiyatum om unadvala sarasa bhaktasriyam. So he's given out this rasa, Ujvala rasa, to the most lowest. That's what makes Lord Chaitanya so magnanimous. Namo Mahavandhanaya Krishna Prema Padayate. Of course, we have to follow Lord Chaitanya's teachings to be able to get the fruit of what he's given. Yeah, even the Upanishads.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like the one that says Vedas can only strive to achieve it.
Yeah.
The prema of the gopis not achieved it. They haven't. They try to. They're striving to achieve.
Yeah, there is some. I know the personified Vedas. They did achieve. There's different groups of gopis who achieved perfection through sadhana, and the Vedas is one of them. The personified Vedas. They called not the Chandravali, you know that, isn't it? Shruti, what's it called?
Yeah, Shruti.
Yeah, the
But,
Shruti
yeah.
gopis. The Shruti gopis it's called. So they did. So the personified Vedas. So that's quite the proof of the highest principle is complete spontaneous attraction to Krishna. But the Vedas themselves, which actually give direction for all of mankind, in all the ashrams, it gives direction, that they themselves did austerities in order to step over the Vedas, over the directions of the Vedas. They became gopis. Shruti Chari gopis, is also others as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they got purified of little whatever tinge they had by not being able to go to the.
Okay, that's the ones, yeah. And Krishna was playing flute. And when he plays the flute, he sends it's a message to go and join him, but they couldn't go because of family encumbrances. But but the separation they felt purified the last vestiges of material attachment.
Even the circles of gopis are more intense, less intense, and that's where Shruti Sacharis went, not intimate gopis, but
Okay, yeah, so they're not like Astasakis. They didn't get position of Astasakis. But still, not a bad deal.
yes, better than.
Yeah, former gopis. So that would be in where Krishna's performing his pastimes in the material world. But the whole whole process, as you first mentioned, it begins with sangha. It begins with association. The whole process becomes ignited through the association of devotees.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was Buddha's. Yeah, he's praying. Becomes just a blade of grass. And there's a place in Brhad, isn't it? When you go on Brhad program, there's Buddha's place, isn't it?
Yeah.
You walk there, you walk in Buddha's place. There's a little kund there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else you want to bring out from here? I just scroll back quite a long. Yeah. Kunda Padavind, lotus feet of Krishna. Okay, let's have a look at, oh God, 151. Getting scared now, we're going to finish, we're going to be lost. Okay, someone like to read 151?
Shall I read?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you so much.
Text 151. Although the goddess of fortune herself and Lord Brahma and all the other demigods have realized all their desires and are masters of yogic perfection, they can worship the lotus feet of Krishna only within their purified minds. But during the rasa dance, Lord Krishna placed his feet upon the gopis' breasts, and by embracing those feet, the gopis gave up all sorrow.
Oh, quite a lengthy commentary. Perhaps we might just pause each paragraph and let's see how we go. Go on.
A commentary. Aren't all devotees of Krishna equally glorious for renouncing their families and whatever else prevents them from approaching Krishna? Yes, but the intimacy of the gopis' surrender makes them special. Krishna's lotus feet are worshipped by the goddess of fortune with all the opulence at her command. She serves her lord's feet by massaging them, and she attends him in various other ways. Brahma, Rudra, Indra, and other demigods also worship Krishna's feet, and so do the Mahatattva and the other elements of creation. The demigods and the elements over which the demigods preside worship Krishna's feet by performing Vedic sacrifices and carrying out his orders. Self-satisfied liberated sages also worship with devotion those same feet, aiming at them as the supreme goal of life. The great masters of Bhakti Yoga worship his lotus feet within their purified hearts by hearing and chanting Krishna's glories with pure love. But the worship performed by all these elevated souls, with the exception of Goddess Lakshmi, is for the most part only mental. Rarely does Krishna grant his darshan to these demigods, sages, and devotees. The gopis' worship of Krishna's lotus feet is much more intimate. The words Krishnaya Tat Bhagavata indicate this intimacy. The pronoun tat, that, implies that even before the rasa dance, the gopis were already intimately familiar with the supreme beauty of Krishna's feet. And after Krishna left the gopis at the very beginning of the Ras Leela, they spent some time vividly remembering those very feet in the ecstasy of separation. Though these were the same lotus feet worshipped by Shri, the goddess of fortune, the gopis realized them in a special way, as the feet of the darling young son of Yashoda and Nanda. The lotus feet the gopis repeatedly held to their breasts during the rasa dance were thus the most excellent embodiment of all beauty. By holding Krishna's feet in this way, the gopis were completely relieved of the pain of separation. Certainly, then the gopis are the greatest devotees, because they worship Krishna's feet not merely by meditating on them, but by holding them physically in their embrace. Because the feet they worshipped were the feet of Supreme Lord in the form of Krishna. The gopis are superior to the demigods, headed by Brahma, because the gopis touched those feet directly. The gopis are superior to the self-satisfied sages, because the gopis held the feet to their breasts. The gopis are superior to the masters of yoga, and because the association of the gopis with Krishna occurred during the Rasa Leela, the gopis are superior even to Mahalakshmi. As Uddhava describes how the gopis during the Rasa dance obtained relief from the distress of separation, he harbors the concern that the feeling of separation the gopis suffer now are much more serious, now that Krishna has left them to go to Mathura. Uddhava doubts whether even a skillfully delivered message from Krishna can do much to console them. Although Uddhava has done his best, the effect will most likely be negligible. But in any case, he himself has deeply affected by his meeting with the gopis. He has imbibed the spirit of their special prema, and in that mood he has prayed to take birth in Raj in any form of life, be it a bush or other plant that may be touched by the dust of the gopis' divine feet. Because Uddhava could probably value and learn from the love of the gopis, it was him, Krishna, chose to carry the message to Vrindavan. Like Uddhava, Srila Sukadev Goswami took his own heart the gopis' mood of devotion to Krishna. At the end of the 10th canto, Srila Sukadev expresses this mood when he praises Krishna Dwarka's queens. How could one possibly describe the great austerities performed by these women who perfectly served him, the spiritual master of the universe, in the pure ecstatic love? Thinking of him as their husband, they rendered such intimate services as massaging his feet. Even though Srila Sukadev, while speaking this verse, uses the term Bharta, husband, rather than Jara, paramour, he is actually thinking of the gopis of Raj and burning in the fire of ecstasy. But he dares not mention this out of fear that in ecstasy he would lose his self-control. Even in modern times, and even among men, there are great devotees who are known to have attained pure love for Krishna in the mood of the gopis. No one should doubt this, thinking that the male devotee, the mood of the gopis, is incompatible. Anyone well versed in the epics and Puranas will know the example of the austere sages of the Dandaka forest. When the sages saw the beauty of Sri Raghunath, Lord Ramachandra, they became attracted in the conjugal mood and wanted to enjoy having him as their husband. In the Uttarakanda of Sri Padma Puran, Lord Shiva, speaking to his wife Parvati, describes that history. When they saw Lord Hari in the beautiful form of Ramchandra, they at once wanted to enjoy him. Thus they all took birth as women in Gokul, and by their lusty attraction to the Lord Hari, obtained him as their husband. In this way they gained liberation from the ocean of material existence. The Kurma Mahapurana also states, by performing austerities, the wise sons of Agni took birth as women and obtained as their husbands Lord Vasudev, the unborn and unlimited source of creation.
Okay, thank you. Any particular initial questions or comments here? A couple of things to explain. Especially at the end there, this is also mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. Sanatana Goswami is addressing a misconception that in order to develop the bhava, or the sentiment of a gopi, then you need a female form. And they will go to the extent that even if they have a male form, they will dress like gopis, be camp, like lady, like go to camp. And that's theirs in their complete delusion. Just as we chant 16 rounds and we do sadhana by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, their sadhana to achieve Gopi Bhava is to dress in saris and wear makeup.
Just to enter the Ras Leela, is it? Just to enter into the...
Yeah, and that's their madness and that's their illusion. So, but actually the sentiments of attraction to Krishna has nothing to do with this material body. Someone like a sadhaka in a male body can develop attraction as a female associate of Krishna, the gopis, but it's seva sadhaka rupena sita rupena tatrahi. It's an internal, it's something that's internal.
The mood.
I mean, they're attracted in the soul. They depends what stage they're at, but they will develop attraction to Krishna by hearing the moods of the gopis. It's called tatbhava. So we're hearing the moods of the gopis and taking that mood on in smaran, and they develop sentiments of gopis. But they don't take on the external garb of that. That's called sahajiya. That's also called madness. So this is mentioned in Nectar Devotion as well. When I teach that, and Bhakti Sastri at this point is there by Rupa Goswami bringing out this misconception as well. So Sanatana Goswami is also mentioning it here. So obviously there were some people at the time of Rupa and Sanatana who were preaching this, who were thinking this. What else was it? There's some, and here these sages at Dandakaranya, it's interesting. they saw Lord Ramachandra and they're attracted in the conjugal mood. It sounds a little bit strange. Huh?
Yeah.
You know, they're sages and they're attracted to Lord Ram in a conjugal way. And now Michael Life gives a bit more elaboration on that of why that is so. Because their mantra was the Gopal mantra, which is Krishna Gopi Jana Phalapaya. So their meditation in their trance of sadhana was for Gopal
Mm.
through the Gopal mantra. So when they saw Lord Ram, they felt so much their sadhana, they felt their attraction for Gopal became electrified, and their sentiment for that attraction in that way, seeing Lord Ram, just ignited their desire to be with Gopal as the cowherd boy and themselves in the role of the admirer of the gopi. So that's some details there. Might makes more sense. Yeah.
So it really puts the gopis at such a high level. Really, they were simple, but they were so devoted, so lucky, so to be with Krishna as such a close contact, and everybody else was aspiring to be so close to Krishna, but they were just so lucky. So
this is what's coming out here.
Yeah.
even amongst the even amongst the cowherd boys and those in Vatsalya and those in I mean they kind of share intimacy with Krishna. But not this type of intimacy as a lover and a beloved.
Yes.
So even on the human platform, even on the material world, then the intimacy exchange between lover and beloved has much more detail. It's much more intimate. So this is the gopis, and it's a good thing to keep in mind. I often mention this because we hear words like here it says by their lusty attraction, etc. And we heard in this morning's Purple, Adi Guru gave class, and this morning Prabhupada's Purple was speaking of this, that it's not what attracts male and female here in the material world. It's all based on pure sentiment. But still, it is an exchange. Like, for instance, the gopis, there is, can you say, there is embracing and there's kissing. Right? It's different.
Yeah, not as we know it here. It's something very high level, so deep and sacred.
Yeah. Now we won't really to really understand it fully and to really appreciate it fully. We have to be completely free of the calm of the material world. To not project that upon hearing about the gopis. Like when sometimes you have to, like this we're reading here. I mean, if I was giving a lunch class or a Sunday freeze class, I would think twice about reading, for example, that Krishna put his feet on the breast of the gopis.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because everyone's so madly lusty in this material world. The first thing they think of,
Yes.
they're so completely absorbed in lust. That's the first thing that comes to their mind.
Yes. Contaminated thoughts rather than
Even ourselves, we have to be a little bit careful as we're reading it to make sure we're really not getting you heard it saying, the wrong end of the stick.
Yeah.
Because when
It makes
and they got purified anyway.
It's like like the pujaris that dress the Sakis and Radha in like Mayapur. It's obviously they're men, and then they dress. So they must be like the gopis in a way. They're so pure. Like when you're dressing.
We dress Radharani.
Yeah. like you say, you know, the mindset is so pure and so elevated to be able to do that without having any desires. Sorry, I know it's like slightly a bit.
No, it's a very relevant point. Yes, a very relevant point. Yeah, that's why the first initiation, chanting the holy name,
Yeah.
then second initiation,
Yes.
then yeah, because I mean, I've been on the altar. I give you,
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if I should say it, but I've been on the altar in Mayapur when they're dressing the deities.
Wow, yes, this is what I was thinking, but they dressed them so beautifully
Dressing
and so with every detail. And I often think, wow, but these are, you know, pujaris that are dressing these Sakhis and Radharani.
They're quite expert in putting nose rings. And
Yes.
in one sense, it is a skill that's learned as a pujari. It doesn't necessarily indicate that if you're dressing the Sakhis in Mayapur, that you're at the stages of Bhava or Shakti or Prema. It just means that they are good at doing these things, and they learn to do it nicely, and they learn to. It's not. I mean, we should respect all. Yeah, we give great respect because they are, you know, a very special position to have. They're actually Krishna's personal servants. But it doesn't always indicate that they are the level of gopis.
I think it's like, you know, like when we dressing, you know, you read about things, you kind of meditate on putting the jewelries and outfit and this and you just do it as following how devotees are doing. Like you've read about things like that and how the gopis are dressing, and when you're putting a nose ring, you just try and remember you don't do all these things there, but it just comes automatic.
Yeah.
You know, because
my meditation when I'm dressing Radharani and putting the nose ring on, I'm thinking, I hope that nose ring stays on, it doesn't fall off. That's my meditation. These flowers look, you know, symmetrical.
Yeah.
But I mean, Prabhupada says that, and also he says in one place in the Nectar of Devotion, that advancing in the sentiment of conjugal love or attraction to Krishna, this dressing Radha Krishna is part of the sadhana for that. To advance in attraction to Krishna, part of he mentions as a sadhana is addressing Radha Krishna. So for obvious reasons, you're there in close proximity. So it's a great Udipan, it's a great stimulus for attraction to Radha and Krishna.
And I was just thinking about like the lotus feet, you know, in the beginning, how it's saying that the demigods also look at lotus feet, and you know, Shiva, Rudra. Yeah. The gopis are so advanced that they really meditate on the lotus feet. Yeah.
But they meditate. They're embracing them.
Embracing them. And Brahma and Rudra are also like meditating on the lotus feet. So same way when we take darshan, all of us are also like taking darshan of the lotus feet. We're told to take darshan of the lotus feet and then go up.
Yeah.
But us all individually have different, when we're taking darshan, we all have different feelings, different intentions, desires, whatever, when we're looking at the lotus feet. Even when you're chanting, you can meditate on the lotus feet. And we have different desires when we're chanting and meditating on lotus feet, you know. So also we are all in different state level, you know.
Yeah, we want spiritual desires. That's the idea. I mean, we're hearing about this, and we're hearing about Vrindavan, we're hearing about the love for gopis, etc. But this is the great opportunity that we have by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and, you know, and the Guru Parampara, that we're hearing about this, and by hearing about it, you become attracted to it. This is the idea. But that's it's wonderful. It's good to hear about it as well. then we can develop some attraction to that, and lose attraction to the material world. Yes. Any other points? Bring out some nice points here. It's wonderful discussion.
Prabhu, these sages of Karanya, were they the queens of the 1600 queens of Krishna?
This is different. No, these were sages. These were when Lord Ramachandra was in.
No. Did they become the queens of Krishna in Dwarka? The 1600 queens that Krishna rescued.
Unless you've read something specifically, I don't think so. So that
Okay.
I don't know that detail. But they did become gopis. But no, it wasn't in Dwarka. They become gopis in Brhad.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they became specific gopis in Brhad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another one was Sukadev Goswami was impersonalist. Is that right? Before he started doing the Srimad Bhagavatam?
He was he was a Brahmavadi.
Sorry?
He was a Brahmavadi.
Brahmavadi, okay.
Yeah, he wasn't a Mayavadi, he was a Brahmavadi. So he was completely, the Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, he was completely absorbed in the concept of the spiritual reality of everything. So he was completely absorbed on the spiritual platform, but he hadn't come in contact or hadn't heard from devotees about Krishna. So the story when he did leave, when he left, when he was born, and he left immediately, and then Vyasadeva, just like described that to attract deer, then sometimes hunters would play a flute, street music, and the deer would hear that music and come, out of curiosity they would come. So in the same way, Vyasadeva had his disciples recite verses. One verse was about Krishna entering, wearing a blue kanika flower on his ears with a peacock feather yellow garment and a Vaijayantika, and he entered the forest and beautified the marks of his footprint, a whole bakayam stana kula kutam. So Sukadeva Goswami, he's completely free of all attraction to anything in this material world. But when that sound, his mind became disturbed, and he experienced the ecstasy of attraction and perception of Krishna through that sound. So that intrigued him, and that brought him back to the ashram to hear more. Then he heard Bhagavatam. So he heard, so Sukadeva Goswami, and that's why I'm sort of going off the track a bit, and because he was an intense yogi, so intense that he walked around naked, He was an intense yogi. So at the beginning of Bhagavatam, and he could travel in his samadhi of trance. He would enter in different ephemeral realms. Such an advanced yogi. So that's why in the beginning of Bhagavatam, second canto, you hear all these verses that he's relating Krishna consciousness through someone who's practiced mystic yoga. That's why the verses in second canto, sometimes it can be a little bit, what's going on here? It speaks about entering all these different realms, and so he speaks about that, but ultimately he concludes that devotion to Krishna. Anyway, we're going off the track a bit here. Yes.
Prabhu, Brahmavadi, they do they worship the effulgence of the Lord, yes?
Yeah, that's it. They're just absorbed in the non-differentiated meditation of Brahman. That's their meditation, that everything, they're absorbed in the transcendental aspect of the universe as being Brahman, and that being the supreme. Yeah. Yes, I don't really. Yeah, so they're Brahmavadis. So Brahmavadis means they're absorbed in They're absorbed in Krishna, but without the bliss, without the Ananda. They're just absorbed in the eternity aspect of the soul. Yeah, and the material elements in the body being just a temporary shell, but their real existence is of spirit. So that's their meditation.
The four Kumaras were the same.
Walk
And in
Yep.
Gop Kumar went there, remember? And then he got
Yeah.
bored just sitting there meditating on the stupid soul.
Yeah, we read that. Yeah, there's a whole discussion, isn't there, on what's best, meditation on Krishna or seeing with the eyes?
Yeah.
The whole wonderful discussion. Smaran or seva?
Mm.
Yeah, or seeing with the eyes. Drisha, seeing with the eyes. Because they bring up the argument that meditation, then nothing can get in the way because it's all internal. That's their practice. I can't remember the details of the discussion now. But anyway, so we're hearing the gopis. We're hearing about their wonderful, their wonderful absorption in Krishna. That's why Lord Chaitanya, he worshipped them. They're the highest example of devotion. And then it's what to speak of Radharani. That's like the whole. You speak about the gopis, that's one thing. But when it comes to Radharani, it's a whole nother dimension. A whole nother dimension of attachment, which is beyond even the gopis themselves. Radharani's affection and love for Krishna and her absorption in Krishna is like, even the gopis they're just like Uddhava is completely astounded by the gopis. So the gopis are always enchanted by Radha's love for Krishna. That's why a lot of gopis, they worship Radha because of her great love for Krishna. They get more love for Radha's love for Krishna than they do have for Krishna. If that makes sense. They're more in love with the love that Radha has for Krishna. She's the emperor.
Yeah. The last one,
Yeah.
the last sentence of this verse, by performing austerities, the wise sons of Agni took birth as women and obtained as their husband Lord Vasudev.
Yeah, what their son was exactly by performing austerities. So is there a question there?
The question is Vasudev is Krishna, isn't it?
Yeah, the husband.
But this one seems a bit Vasudev, that Krishna Vasudev, or just Krishna, I mean, a little bit of question about.
What is there's Vasudev and Vasudev. You see, it's got the line above the A.
Vasudev is Krishna, but Vasudev is the father of Krishna.
Yeah, this is speaking about Krishna. Let's read. By performing austerities, the wise sons of Agni took birth as women and obtained, as their husband Krishna. It's Krishna.
Okay.
Because that's the subject of the Bhagavatamrta at the moment. So from that perspective, we can understand it's Krishna.
This might be Dwarka queens, huh?
I don't know that detail. Yeah. So you have to look up in the Kuma Mahapurana and see if there's any more further description. It's interesting as well because we know that you can't obtain Krishna by doing austerities. But they did austerities. But their austerities would be their austerities will be austerities of bhakti. So it would be a meditation, it would be a smaran on Krishna's lotus feet. I mean, that would be their austerity, some type of smaran or some type of sudden in bhakti.
Okay.
Because you can't attain Krishna by doing austerities.
Yes. That's why I'm asking, is this...
You just get a hard heart. So this austerity, we should know because of the goal that was obtained. we should understand that their austerity was a bhakti, a practice of devotion, because they achieved the fruit of that. You understand?
Yeah.
So from
Okay.
that, we can understand it wasn't just a dry austerities.
Yes. Yes.
No, it was devotional,
Okay.
because they obtained Krishna as their husband. I mean, so that we understand this. Yeah.
Okay.
They obtained unborn and unlimited source of creation.
Yes.
Any more questions or comments here?
Well, the gopis' love is spontaneous.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have to meditate. They don't have to do anything. It's automatic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Where
it's natural.
it's
Yeah.
natural. They don't think. Their love is completely different.
Yeah, they're kind of their emotions follows their attraction. I mean, the heart is naturally attracted. Just because they're pure. Just like a magnet is naturally attracted to another magnet if there's no interference. So they have, because that's the natural position of the jiva. They're completely there's hoitike pretty atma, it's all completely unmotivated and it's uninterrupted. It's just motivated by pretty. Like we're trying to fire up, or we're trying to get things going to be attracted to Krishna. We chant his name so we can become attracted. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Please let me be attracted. Let me chant 16 rounds so I can become attracted. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, let me go to take darshan so I can become attracted. Okay, let me read so I might get some attraction. It's good. I mean, we've got to start somewhere. But the gopis, it's already just flowing. That attraction is just natural. Shakti and power. So yeah. But by hearing about that, we can hear about this level of attraction to Krishna. We can be inspired. Now let's just this one is just a short 152. I'll just read this one for a few minutes. We might go over a couple of minutes. And I just want to, excuse me, I just want to scroll forward a bit and see. There we go. 157.
157.
Yeah, that's we finished. So we might well finish next week.
Mm-hmm. So we
Let's
have to
see
think what to do next.
what we're going to do. We can work that out. I'm sure we'll come up with something. But let's read this for now.
We repeat this again.
What? Repeat what?
This book.
This book?
Yeah, read it again.
Yeah, it'd be good. I was thinking of that.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay, after understanding so much, we go from part 1 again.
Let's we can discuss when we get to it. Okay, let's read this. Again and again, I offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaj's cowherd village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Krishna, the vibration purifies 3 worlds. Commentary. After thus taking great satisfaction from sweetly singing the glories of the gopis, Buddha falls flat on the ground. On the right path, their lotus feet have touched. Picking up a speck of dust from the path, he places it on his head, as if it was the greatest treasure in the universe. And after, again offering prostrate obeisances, he recites this final prayer. So you can do that next time you go. I think a lot of you guys are running off to Vrindavan, I heard, during Kartik. So you go there, fall on the ground, take some dust, put it on your head, and then fall on the ground again. And recite.
Do that, Raman Reddy.
Yeah, Raman Reddy. Really nice to do that.
Rolling it in.
Yeah. Buddha is absorbed in ecstasy, so much so that even though he can see the gopis, he speaks and offers homage to them with deep reverence as if they were not present. Obviously, he feels sublime pleasure in chanting their glories. The most ecstatic kind of Sankirtan, however, is that chanted by the gopis themselves. Now, imagine being in a kirtan that's led by the gopis. Wow. is chanted by the gopis themselves. Their loud songs purify all the worlds, including the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems. Sri Sukadeva Goswami has described this early in his narration of Uddhava's visit to Vrindavan. All, as the ladies of Brhad loudly sang the glories of the lotus-eyed Krishna, their songs blended with the sound of their churning, ascended to the sky, and dissipated everything inauspicious in every direction. Suppose they're going about their daily activities, they're just singing songs about Krishna. Uddhava also implies that any suitable praise of the gopis, such as the prayers he had just sung, is in fact the most excellent form of Hari Katha. Right? We can engage in the most excellent form of Hari Katha. Such glorification can easily purify the three worlds, as Uddhava hoped to do by speaking these verses. Okay. Uddhava Ji Jai. And interesting, if I've got this correct, Uddhava himself, although he's very much appreciative of the gopis and their love for him, he doesn't become gopi.
No.
He remains as a servant of the Lord. If I remember rightly, because for Krishna's Leela, for Krishna's pleasure, it wouldn't be good if everyone was a gopi. There has to be, there has to be gopas, there has to be mothers and fathers, there have to be youngsters, there have to be cows, there has to be, for the whole, the whole spiritual realm and the interaction and the rasa and the leela, there's all these different devotees play different roles. So it's not, and that's what I heard, if I've got that right, Uddhava himself, he remains in a position as a servant of the Lord. Okay.
He becomes a blade of grass.
So?
He becomes a blade of grass.
Yeah,
I was reading in that book.
Okay. Becomes a blade of grass. Okay.
And
Has he actually become? That's it. He loses his form as Uddhava.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I read in that Shiva Maharaj's book.
Okay, if you read that, we take that. So he's become, so watch where you tread when you go to Vrindavan. Tread on Uddhava. Yes, this would be Apakrata. Okay, unfortunately, we have to stop glorifying the gopis now. What are we going to do? What are we going to do the rest of the evening? What we're going to stop?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to ring you anyway. I need to ring you back.
Rounds, chant. Okay, thank you everyone for giving me the opportunity and sharing this wonderful recital of Bhagavatamrta and hearing about the gopis and Uddhava's appreciation of the gopis. So please join us again for next week, and we'll see. We might well finish next week. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
It's great. Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Bhagavatamrta Vishakra Basan Davidi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.